Hello everyone, we are here at Sekhmet Temple in Indian Springs, Nevada. If you've heard us talk about this before, we're now giving you a live show.
Yeah. So here we are.
We're going to go out here and look at the plaque and look at the ground and let JC read the plaque to you and then let you know all about what's out here at Indian Springs, Nevada at the Sekhmet Goddess Temple.
So mothers and daughters dedicate this temple to the goddess of life, Genevieve Vaughn, and her daughters, Amelia, Beatrice, and Emma Rossi Landy. The story is that Genevieve herself was believed to have been barren, but went to Egypt and prayed to the goddess Sekhmet, who gave her fertility despite all odds, medically speaking. Then she came here, purchased this property, and then rented it from the natives so that she could build the temple and make a place of devotion for all people, but especially women, for the divine feminine to be upheld and worshipped in every aspect of life.
So right across the street over here by those mountains is Creech Air Force Base. And the reason why she purchased this property, and you can read the story in better detail on sekhmet.org, she, like JC said, came back to honor Sekhmet for the gift she had been given of her daughters and bought this land from the military, I believe, from the government, because they were actually part of the nuclear testing out here. And since this was all native land, she wanted to give back to the natives by deeding them back this property and then paying rent as long as they were here. So if anybody would like to support the Goddess Temple, you can always give donations because they are completely, I think, donation based.
It is completely donation based, yeah.
And so when you walk up into this beautiful open-air temple, you come in to not only honor Mother Sekhmet. Let me come in front of her for you. But then they have other representations of the gods and goddesses. Goddesses, not gods, I'm sorry. I was going to say goddesses and deities.
Yeah, you absolutely have not only Sekhmet, but Bastet. You have Our Lady of Guadalupe. You have Madre de Terra, or Madre del Mundo. You have Kuan Yin. Here's Hathor at the top left. And then we have the Venus of Willendorf with her as well. There's many representations of the Divine Feminine throughout the temple, all intended to give everyone, but especially women, a place to commune with the Divine Feminine and find their sacred truth, their femininity, their identity, if they've lost it or if they need to have it reinforced.
And hail Mother Sekhmet.
Hail Mother Sekhmet.
And here's the open air roof. And when you come out here, as you've seen from some of this landscape, as JC was telling you about honoring the goddesses within, you saw the fire, sacred fire space. Out through that trail is a labyrinth. Here's a gathering place for food and fellowship. And out in the distance, if you can see, is the high priestess staying, the home that she stays in. Plus there's another home out there that you can rent and come stay. Rent, I'm saying loosely because they don't charge you.
But it's by donation.
But there's fun little things all over the property here. Maybe we can walk out to the labyrinth. It's kind of hot, so if my phone freezes up, forgive me.
Devotees come here and leave painted stones, offerings, trinkets, jewelry, foodstuffs, not only to each one of the independent shrines that are scattered throughout the area, but also at some of the dedicated shrines that have had a real focus since the establishment of the temple. The labyrinth is one of its oldest features and is something that a lot of photographers come out to take pictures of just specifically because it's a unique element and beautiful. It certainly gets a lot of traffic whenever devotees come out to find themselves. It's one of the practices that many engage in. It's not at all unlike the Cardoria labyrinth that you find at the Edgar Cayce Museum. There it's mosaic. Here it's been fashioned by hand. a nice way to find yourself walking the labyrinth.
So JC, as we're walking the labyrinth and showing people what we're doing, tell us the story of the labyrinth. Why is this important?
The labyrinth has always been symbolic of the sacred feminine because it represents the uterus and the track that in antiquity individuals believed the child made out of the womb, finding its way into the world. It also represents the catabasis that every person must make in order to find their identity by going deep within, finding their center, and then finding their way out. This is encapsulated in the Latin idiom Visita interiora terra rectificando invenita cultum lapidem. Visit the interior of the earth and there find the stone that you will transform yourself with. So the labyrinth is the divine feminine by not only representing the feminine reproductive organ, but also the metaphor of the spirit, how it travels within in order to understand itself and travel outside. The labyrinth is also a tool used in multiple traditions to confuse evil and prevent it from attacking the wearer of the labyrinth. Many of you might be familiar with the story of the labyrinth of Knossos on Crete, where the Minotaur lived, and
I hear a rattlesnake.
I hear a rattlesnake too.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
So here is the fairy altar, as you can see.
Very nice.
And again, it's not lush and green like it is out east. It is the desert, the high desert, the hot desert. It's only 107 right now. But as you can see, people still come out here to pay homage to the fairies, the angels, the deities, gnomes, deities of the sprites and the air and the wind. So we're going to walk back up to the temple. Hopefully my phone hasn't gotten too hot and I'll be able to read your messages. I can't see anything in 107-degree heat with sun blaring down on my phone. So hopefully you're seeing a beautiful landscape and you can hear us perfectly. One more time to the labyrinth. Coming back to the beautiful goddess temple, that open air structure, that kind of southwest adobe feel. Fun things along the way that you'll find. People have carved and created things and just left them all over this beautiful sacred space. And if you see these trees in pockets, like that one out there, it's because there's a natural spring under there. And I haven't walked out there in 12 years, but you used to be able to see the water.
Many people will come out and do these stone little mosaic attempts at drawing and giving messages, giving signs, symbols, sometimes names.
One of my favorite features out here, besides this open air goddess temple to Sekhmet, Sekhmet's very personal to me, and even though she's not the head of our coven, or who our coven is dedicated to, she's a very important person and deity goddess in my life. One of my favorite features is this birthing stone. Does anybody know what a birthing stone is? Let me know. We might hold a raffle. Don't Google it. All right. Hail Sekhmet. We come back into your home. I'm going to walk around to here. Hopefully my phone is cooled off and I can see what everybody is talking about. Sorry if I'm out of breath. I'm a big girl and it's 107 degrees out here. All right. So Shelby Percy says, hello, beautiful sounds. Sending hugs. Hello, beautiful souls, sending hugs. Lou says it's so beautiful. Judy Shelton Francis gives us hearts. Rose says, oh my, how beautiful. Judy's giving more hearts. Let's see here. My phone's acting funny, sorry. Rose says, well, I just can't stop talking about it. How the area hits me right in my soul. I need to make a trip that way. Yes, you do. Lynn says, beautiful. And Shelby says, just beautiful, amazing energy. Yes, it is. Just to sit under here in this open air with this breeze.
So you have the shade, but there's still a full breeze here.
And this was the fire pit for the temple, but I think because fire season, fire hazard, they've now looks like they've put a grid in its space. But when they're doing full moon, new moon, and special ceremonies up here, they do use that as a fire pit. So it is a beautiful place. Everybody thinks of Las Vegas as Sin City and anything goes, but what we're trying to show you is all the natural beauty of the desert, all the wonderful spiritual things that you can find in Sin City. It's not just Sin City. Hello, JC.
Oh, hey.
Anything else you want to tell them about the temple?
Sekhmet, for those of you who are not familiar with how ancient Egyptian shrines were constructed, you have a lot of deities in the ancient Egyptian tradition and multiple pharaonic pantheons who are dyads. They are two deities in one, and this is the truth for Sekhmet. In this instance, you have a smaller Bastet sitting to the right of Sekhmet, and Sekhmet being the focus. In other temples, you might have a larger Bastet making the focus, and a smaller Sekhmet sitting beside her, because Bastet and Sekhmet are a dyad deity. They are two sides of the same coin. They are essentially the same entity, both representing the same value of motherly, nurturing protection, but in two different capacities. Bastet, the passive protector, and Sekhmet, the aggressive protector. Sekhmet being the mother who goes to war for her young, and Bastet being the mother who spirits her young away to protect them and care for them. But still a dyad, a deity in two forms, much like the hypostatic union of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So with dyads and triads in other traditions, we see deities taking multiple forms. It's important because this shows us, with the larger Sekhmet and the smaller Bastet, that Sekhmet, as an aggressive protector of woman, was who was being invoked. Which makes sense, because Genevieve wanted to cure what she viewed as a blight in the form of her infertility. So paying special supplication when she made her trip to Egypt to the goddess Sekhmet as a representation solidly of that dyad between Sekhmet and Bastet, she wanted to aggressively burn out her infertility and allow her fertility to be, allow her fertility to come into herself. And so it's significant and important. And I can even tell you, the commissioning of the statue of Sekhmet that was done was well done, because it's a beautiful statue, beautiful piece. I believe that it's probably basalt is the stone that it's been carved from, and will probably be here for a very long time.
Yes. So we hope you've enjoyed your tour of Indian Springs, Nevada. It's about 1 hour north of Las Vegas. It's just a quick trip out here. Hopefully you've been following all of our videos. We did go to Valley of Fire. We did go to the Cactus Garden at Ethel M's. We did go to Mount Charleston. Now we're at the Goddess Temple. I think tomorrow we'll be at the Springs Preserves, where there's actually the springs that you can see that Las Vegas is named after. And I think we have a few other surprises. So clearly stay tuned. Clearly know that we're still here for you, even though we are on a working vacation. We are available for clients and for services. And like we said, if you need us to curate anything out here for you, we will. So just DM us with anything that you might like to see while we're out here. If you'd like to purchase for you while we are out here. If you need readings, JC's available for forecasting and mediumship, and I'm available for spiritual doula sessions. But from sunny, fabulous Las Vegas and all of its natural surrounding, don't get fooled by Sin City, because there's some very sincere things in this ancient ocean we call the desert.
We should call it Sincere City.
Sincere City. Both sinning and sincere.
Do you sincerely sin, or do you sin sincerely?
Oh, both. All right, Crow's Cupboard. We love you.
We do love you.
Thank you for being here. If you enjoy what we're doing, and anybody who needs to see the Goddess Temple, Sekhmet's Goddess Temple, please share the video. Please let people know what we're doing out here. Just getting some of this great vibe, this good energy, this desert energy, the wisdom and knowledge of the desert, and bringing it home to our tribe that we love so much.
We love you. We will see you soon. Take care.